the discipline, the dedication, I sort of like transferred it from being a sports person to being a sommelier. So the same training methods, the same goals that I used to have different goals back then. I transferred all my goals, realigned them, and then now I just want to be a master sommelier, and I want to win competitions as well, be the best in the world.
Thembani, it's so lovely to meet you here on Zoom.
Yeah, likewise.
And you're all the way in South Africa.
Yes, I am in South Africa. Yes, and
So,
Johannesburg. Mhm.
oh, yeah, you're in Johannesburg. Were you born
Mhm.
there in
No,
Johannesburg?
no. So, I come from Zimbabwe in Bulawayo. Yes,
Oh, I
that's where I
see.
was born. Uh-huh.
And how long have you been in South Africa?
I'd say 4 years now. Yeah, for 4 years.
Okay.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I saw on LinkedIn and also on Instagram, you were
Hmm.
awarded as young sommelier.
Yes, yes, I was. That was last year in September or November, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a competition. So all the sommeliers in South Africa that work in the South African industry, they register and then we compete actually. So yeah, I won the competition. It was my first time competing in the competition, and yeah,
Amazing. Congratulations.
thank you.
So, for you in the industry, does that mean a lot? Is it important for you to do these competitions?
Yes, it is actually it's super important because being in the industry, which means you work with wines every day on a daily basis. You wake up, you think about wines, open a bottle, tastings and all that. It plays a huge role to preparing for the competition because when you go to the competition, they ask you about different wines from around the world. They set up a restaurant scenario, like an actual restaurant. They ask you about food pairings and all that. So being in the wine industry and being exposed to all of this, it actually helped a lot. And the fact that I always write examinations and I'm always studying all the time, it actually helped me. Because a month before the competition, I was doing Court of Masters and I passed my introductory certificate. And then the competition was 2 weeks away. So that examination actually helped me understand a lot.
Amazing. But your work as a sommelier, you have to, it's all about taste. And then you say also the knowledge, but it has to do with the taste. So you're tasting wine, you're comparing or pairing the wine with food. Is that right?
Yes. So part of my examinations, especially the one I'm writing in March. So it's more like it's focused on theory and then blind tasting, and then the service. So for blind tasting, I have to taste wines every day, like classic red varieties. And I have to identify a wine by just tasting it. So tasting plays a huge role, and yeah, you have to be a super taster. Is they can just pour you any white wine, and it's the same thing they do in competitions. They pour a glass, and then you have to describe the wine. You have to give a description, and then you have to tell where it comes from or what grape variety it is. So working in the restaurant setup, you taste wines all the time. Like sometimes I open like over 30 bottles of wine in one night and I
Yeah.
have to decant and taste them. So it actually helps a lot, just keeping that memory, tasting, remembering what a Sauvignon Blanc tastes like, what a Riesling, a Pinot Grigio, or a Merlot or a Bordeaux blend. So it actually helps for examinations and then it actually helps for competitions. And
Well,
it's not only Mhm.
no.
and it's not only wines. Sometimes they can just pour you any spirit. be it a whiskey, a single malt, or be it a gin or vodka or a tequila. So you have to actually tell all beverages what they taste like, and yeah.
Well, I was thinking while I was reading about you and the work that you are doing, and I was thinking it must be also it must be not everybody will be able to do this. This must be something that you discovered, that you have this sense of taste, or that you have this talent of identifying this specific these tastes. So when did you discover this talent? When was the interest in doing this job?
So honestly, I didn't have any interest. So I used to play soccer. I used to be like a professional athlete. And then so given what's happening in Zimbabwe, the economy and all that, so I had to go to Botswana, and then I found myself here in South Africa. And then my uncle used to own a restaurant. So I started working there, had no experience or anything. And then the restaurant closed in like after 4 months, I'm sure. And then I went to this restaurant called Saint. And then from there, I started working as a runner, you know. So it was actually amazing. Like the food, everything, what's happening, given where I come from, I've never seen those things. It was my first time. It was like a huge experience. And then I didn't even know there was a job title of being a sommelier, someone who specializes in wine. It was my first time in 2018. So, I'm sorry.
No.
So the thing is, after that, the sommelier team came to me, and then the first time I tasted wine, it was, this is me, it was ugly. And I told myself I'll never, yeah, because I never drank before. It was my first time drinking alcohol, like tasting wine as well. So now the thing is, I kind of like grew, because every time when I went to work, a client will ask me a question I couldn't answer. And then what the wine tastes like, where does it come from, who are the winemakers? So I hated the thing of not being able to answer questions. And then that's when I started, went to the bottle store, bought a few bottles, started tasting every day, every single day. So I even do it now. Like this morning, I've tasted like 3 different glasses of red wines just to make sure. So it became a habit, just to taste every day, taste every day, taste every day. And by doing that, I kind of like grew, and it became part of me. It's like a habit now. So just by smelling a glass of wine, I can tell you it's a Chardonnay. I can tell you where it comes from, how it's made, or like 2 grapes that I think it is, because it's something that I've been practicing and practicing and practicing for the past 4 years. So
Well,
yeah.
this fascinates me that you say you didn't have any background, and as a child, you didn't have any exposure
hmm
to this sort of life, sort of
hmm
fine dining and great wines and so on. So, how
hmm
amazing that you discovered that in your life.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like it was destiny. It's destiny actually, because yeah, I was a sporting person, so I had to keep fit all the time, and I didn't want to drink alcohol. So after getting a job as a junior sommelier, then I started drinking and tasting. And yes, when you started the first time, it's not an easy thing to do, because I didn't understand wines. I thought it was something that's bitter and all that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
now
now you
now people yeah now people they'll be like, yeah, you didn't drink before, and
yeah.
now you drink like a lot. So yeah, so that's the thing.
Yeah, but so do you also visit wineries and meet with winemakers? Do you also talk to people who actually make the wines?
So another thing is, last year for the competition of my examination, it was the first time going out of Johannesburg, going to Cape Town. So for the past 3 years, I'd say I'd never went to the wine farms or anything. I only read about it from the books, watched it on documentaries and all that. So after visiting the wine farms, talking to winemakers, it made me understand wines more. And this year, I've been like planning on going everywhere around the world. It's like in March, I'm going to India, and already people want to show me their wines that side. And then I'm going to UK, and then yeah. So I hope I'll still travel around the world and learn because now my studies are getting hard, and I believe I have to see those things at per site. Like if I have to go to Burgundy or go to Champagne or Spain just to visit those places and get more sense about how they make their wines and what happens around the vineyard. So yeah, last year was my first time actually going to a wine region, which is Stellenbosch, and I think I spent about a week. So yeah.
And did it make a difference to you when you were actually there to what you've just read, or when you study to actually go there and see it, the process, or speak to the winemakers?
So my last visit, I didn't get the chance to go to different vineyards because I'll go there for an examination or go there for a competition. So I've stayed at a few wineries and I've seen what's happening around and I've spoke to them. And it actually made sense, and it actually answered lots of my questions that I've heard about the South African wine industry, the region itself. But the tricky ones, the places that I want to go are Italy. That's like the hardest region I have to study. So I believe as a son, visiting those places actually helps a lot. And I'm looking forward to it. And another thing, it's actually hard going to the different wine regions unless if it's a scholarship, especially when you're coming from South Africa, because yeah, I've seen Wine Scholar Guild, and then they always post trips, like a trip that you have to go to Ron Valley and you have to pay. So if you convert the money from South African rands to that car, it's actually a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm.
it's not always so easy to go then to these places.
Yeah, it's not. So that's the disadvantage we have as African sommeliers from South Africa because things are expensive out there. Given the economy of their side, things are expensive. So mostly you're gonna find out, for example, this is what I face. I had a tasting group with other students who are from America, and then they listed wines and all that. So I couldn't buy all the wines because for them they're cheaper, but for me, I'm the only one who's from South Africa. I had to pay a fortune for some of the bottles, and at the end, I had to like tell them, "Now I can't do this. It's actually too expensive for me." So that's the disadvantage we have by working this side compared to other sommeliers around the world because they're more like exposed to everything and they have easy access to everything, be it education, winery trips. But for us here, we have to save up for like months and months and months just to go for one trip. So so that's the struggle being a som here. So, yeah.
But now, when you say you talk about the tasting of the wine, but you have to you have to pair the wine with food as
Uh-huh.
well. So recommend. So
Yes.
you recommend, okay, this wine goes with this food. So
Uh-huh.
do you also have a sense of taste for different foods? Does it have to be on both sides then? So you have to
Hmm.
to identify
So
specific foods.
yeah, so for example, what's important, you also have to know classic dishes. For example, if someone says, or for example, put it this way, if you go to Italy at a certain region, there's a wine made for them with their classic dish. Then if you go to Burgundy, in a village, there's a classic dish that pairs well with a certain wine. And then when it comes to pairing, there are wines that can accommodate certain dishes. For example, if you're having a game or you're having duck, I cannot recommend a Cabernet Sauvignon because it's super full-bodied. It'll overpower the dish. So we have to make sure the wine goes well with the dish. The dish enhances the flavors of the wine as well. So pairing is actually a tricky thing to do, but I enjoy doing it. For example, if you're having a dessert, I can't give you a red wine. I have to give you a sweet wine that's gonna be sweeter than the dessert itself.
Yeah.
So pairing actually plays a huge role in the restaurant as well, because we want people to enjoy the dish at the same time and enjoy the wine so they can keep coming back. So that's another thing. So pairing is actually important. Yeah.
So you recommend it when you're in a restaurant, in a sommelier in a restaurant, so that you could recommend for people what wine they should order with this specific food that they ordered.
So this is me. If someone wants to order some wine, the first thing I tell them is they should have a look at the menu. And then once they decide what they're gonna eat, and then that's when I can recommend a bottle. That's when I can suggest a wine. Because I can't I feel guilty if I sell wines before people see what they're gonna eat. So I want them to have a rough idea of what they're gonna eat. And then that's when I can step up with my wine knowledge and then do a pairing. Because at the end of the day, like I say, I want them to have that experience. Wherever they go, they're like, I had this wine with this dish. It was amazing. And then the next time they come back, they want to try different dishes with different wines. So,
Yeah,
no, that's
because
me.
yeah,
Mhm.
this also in a restaurant. Well, usually in a normal restaurant, people will also the waiter will also always ask you first what you want to drink, and then they ask your order. But this is a very interesting idea that you first decide on what you want to eat, and then you decide on what you want to
Yeah,
drink.
I want to drink. Yes. So that's what I grew to understand. Like I can give someone a full-bodied red wine while they're gonna have oysters. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
They can't have a Cabernet Sauvignon with oysters. So I'd suggest an aperitif or maybe a cocktail. So they can like start off with cocktails, something light, and then they decide on what they're gonna eat, and then I can give them a good bottle. So
yeah,
'cause some people don't know that, and then they order wine before they order food. And then at the end of the day, they're not enjoying the meal and the wine. And this actually, I don't know. Sometimes you see people, they realize they made a mistake and then they start asking for blocks of ice and then they throw them in the wine and then yeah, it doesn't pair well. The wine is
yeah.
doesn't go well with the food. So that's me. That's my approach. Every time I go to help someone with wines, I always tell them, have a look at our menu and then tell me what you eat, what you've decided on having, and then I'll help you with wines and then I'll suggest something that's really nice. I'm there to guide them on the wine list. I'm there to show them what pairs well with the dishes.
Yeah. Now, Timbani, you said
Hmm.
you were a sportsman. You played football. Do you think
Hmm.
this discipline that you have um, for doing sport, that this discipline also help you and motivate you and get you, because it's also not a job where you have to work hard. You have to, like you say, you're tasting so many wines. You really have to study hard. Do you think this helps being coming from the sportsman side of it, that this helps you to be dedicated and motivated?
Yes, so that's the first thing for me. So tasting wines is training, studying hard is training, and I have to work hard to be the best. So I also realized I was watching this documentary called Some. Most sommeliers in America were sports people. They used to play sports. So it's like competition. For me, it's like competition. I enjoy competing. and I'm also a team player. So the discipline, the dedication, I sort of like transferred it from being a sports person to being a sommelier. So the same training methods, the same goals that I used to have different goals back then. I transferred all my goals, realigned them, and then now I just want to be a master sommelier, and I want to win competitions as well, be the best in the world. So it's something that I do every day. I have to train every day. I have to train every day. I have to study every day. And yeah, so I'm not that person who's like, I give up easily. No, I don't give up easily. If something is hard, I always find a way to overcome it. And and I'm actually ambitious. So being a sports person actually helped me a lot. Yeah.
Amazing, yeah. That's so interesting that you say that the goals just they different goals, but you still motivated and you
Mhm.
still so competitive. But I see
Mhm.
also on Instagram you're a gamer.
Yes. Oh my. So I can't study every day, all day. At some point, I have to take my mind off wines and all that. But when I'm playing games, there's always a glass of wine or a bottle that I'm drinking. So
Oh, really? Okay.
it's
No,
so
because
yeah, games have been part of my life since like childhood. Like so, I can't just give up easily now. So yeah,
yeah.
I play
Well,
games every day and yeah.
yeah, my son sent me an article the other day. He's also a gamer, and he sent me an
Uh-huh.
article to prove that gaming is actually good for you because it gives you
It
also,
is.
yeah, you set
It
goals,
is.
you achieve them, and all that sort of thing. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, so so there are some
No, it is. It
positives in
is.
gaming.
No, it's important. It like it makes me, not overthink stuff too much, just being in a different world, having fun at the same time.
Yeah,
And then like I say, there's time to play and then there's time to work. And yeah, there's time for different things, you have to be free. So being a som or studying, it doesn't mean it's a prison. I have to do it 24 hours a day, but
yeah.
I also need some time off, just to regenerate, recharge, and then go back to studying, knowing now I can do it. Yeah.
Well, Thembani, you can start a new craze, and you can recommend the right wine for the right game.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, uh,
But Timbani, this is so interesting to talk to you. This is such a interesting. I must say, I didn't know much about this job, and but it's so interesting to hear you speak. And I'm also so fascinated that you come from, a life where you didn't have that, and you could uh, get into this career and this wine tasting and identifying these different wines. But now,
uh-huh.
what is your wish for the future? What would you like to achieve still?
So in the future, my end game is becoming a Court of Masters, Master Sommelier, and I want to educate people. I want to teach. So if I become that, I want to give back all the knowledge, the information I've acquired over the past years. So sharing is caring.
Yeah.
So I want to open up a school or open up a restaurant, you know, share my knowledge with wines, have the best wines. So right now I'm actually focused on passing all my examinations. And yeah, last year I wrote about 8 examinations. I passed
Wow.
7 of them. And I'm waiting for my result for the eighth one. And then this year it's the same thing. I have to keep acquiring all the knowledge. But at the end, I want to see myself as the best. I want to pass the hardest examination in the world. There's only 269 people who are master sons. So that'll be a huge achievement for me. That'll be actually amazing because all this hard work, it is to pay off at some day. But what's important is sharing, teaching other people, making it easier for them to get where I want to be in life. So yeah.
And I also think this is wonderful that you say that. I also think that if people are more educated when drinking wine, it would be also good for the industry, and it would also prevent people from just drinking because of drinking, that they really enjoy the wine and that they know something about what they are drinking. So that's
Yeah, what they're drinking. Yeah.
That's a great idea. But
Because
no, carry on.
no, I was saying, most people, whenever they drink wine, they don't understand the flavors, what you get, and all that, unless if you tell them, explain how it's made, what they should expect from the wine, and they find it more enjoyable. Like if you tell them, "Yeah, this one is gonna give you red fruits or red cherries, black fruits, and all that," and yeah, so people need to be educated about the wines they're having, and it makes it easier for them to adapt to drinking wine.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
But Thembani, it was so lovely to talk to you, and I wish you all the best for the future, all the best for all your exams you are doing. You're such an
Okay, thank you.
inspiration for working so hard and being so dedicated to what you do. And I hope that there would be some scholarship for you or some possibility that you can come to Europe and maybe experience here also some wines and meet some winemakers. That would be so great for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There has been scholarships, but nah, not yet. I'm just gonna, yeah. I'll see you next year. Just yeah. I only need to pass my examinations and then maybe relocate. So yeah.
Yeah.
Then it becomes easier for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, all the best with that, and I hope all your wishes and dreams come true.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thembani. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.